Alright guys, we are back. Good evening, good morning, or good afternoon. As always, it is so great to see you. And friends, I've been getting a lot of questions lately about the M1 iPad Pro, and usually most of you are asking me, should I even bother getting one of these? And now before I get into what I'm going to be saying here in a moment in this video, let me get it out in the open. I am going to keep mine, but as well as what we're going to be discussing in today's video, I do have a number of concerns with regards to this. Look, and don't get me wrong, this iPad has a lot of cool features, which I'm going to discuss in an upcoming video. There's just a few things that, well, you should be aware of if you're thinking about going out there and buying one of these. But before we get to today's video, I do want to do a quick little tutorial on something else I've gotten a lot of questions about, and that is how to use that like button down below. It's real easy. Step one, well, I'm going to demonstrate on this mouse right here. Step one, you can position the cursor or your finger over the button. Step number two, you're going to click or tap the button just like that. Step three, you're going to watch for visual confirmation that the button has been engaged. Then it's generally going to turn like a darker, or I'm sorry, a lighter black, or might even turn a blue. It's really that simple. Now at the conclusion of today's video, practice using the like button so you're ready to use it in future videos as well. Or my friend, you can hit the like button and just be super awesome and help this channel out with the whole YouTube algorithm, and that would be perfect. That said, my friend, pull up a seat and let's go. Now, on the onset, let's discuss which iPad I have. Now, it is, let's get it out of the keyboard here. And my son's little grubby little print on it, or it could be my grubby print. Either way, it is space gray. It is the 12.9-inch Pro. It is the 512 Wi-Fi, and it does have the M1 processor inside of this thing. Now, I also have the 11-inch Pro from 2020, which is a much more travel-friendly than this thing by far. And I also have the Mini, but I use that more for Gaia maps inside my Jeep. But if we're talking about the larger iPads here, this is, as we're going to discuss here in a moment, definitely a lot larger than the 11-inch. Now, the first thing I'd like to say about the 12.9-inch iPad Pro is that the screen doesn't really seem all that impressive to me. Now, don't get me wrong, it's big, it's a beautiful screen, but the screen on the base iPad looks good as well. So really, you know, I think my problem is that the Pro screen just doesn't look Pro enough. And, you know, let me backpedal on that. Over the years, especially the recent year with iPads, the resolution and the brightness and just the presentation of how things look on these iPads has improved so much, and it looks really fantastic. So when Apple comes out, now granted, the technology in this is in theory, it's better than this. You're getting darker blacks, this and that, but it doesn't present itself like when you put your hands on this and you start filtering through this, unless you're watching movies, for example. That's where you're probably going to notice this more. If you're using this solely to watch movies, yeah, you're going to notice a little bit difference from this one to that one, to the older ones. That's just really the problem here. Apple has done a good job with their previous versions of the iPads that the updates just don't have that same gap. Now, of course, a big part of this is simply, you know, let's call a spade a spade. The expectations we have with Apple products. You expect them to blow you away every single time that you go out and buy a new one. That's what the marketing people are basically presenting from Apple. And while this screen is good, it's great, it's not so good that you could be like, wow, my mind is absolutely blowing on this thing right now. That's just my 2 cents on it. So if the biggest criterion you have for an iPad is a killer screen, save yourself the money and get a smaller one, and you likely, honestly, you're not going to notice much of a difference in the picture quality from this one to the 11. If you even notice much of a difference at all. I've had both my 11 and this one side by side, and of course the Mini, which we'll keep that one out of the picture with this one here. But honestly, I don't notice much of a difference, and I don't think you'll notice much of a difference as well. Now, the next issue to consider with the 12.9-inch iPad Pro is that it is a pretty damn big tablet. I mean, the point of a tablet is to be portable, right? But 12.9 inches, this thing has the same surface as man, many laptops. Sure, it's thinner and lighter than a lot of laptops, but it's still, this is still a huge, heavy tablet, largely due to the fact that the format of this screen is 4:3. Now, of course, this adds some, let's be real here, some unnecessary height to it. Now, as mentioned earlier, my 11-inch iPad Pro is much more travel-friendly because, well, as you can see, it's physically smaller than the 12.9. But the 11-inch also uses a widescreen format that doesn't have the extra height that the 4.3 format does. Either way, just something to think about. Now, a related issue is that this thing is it really doesn't feel like a tablet. Its size makes it a little bit on the awkward to hold with one hand, and when you pick it up, you're kind of surprised by the weight of it, and when you set it down, you feel like you have to be kind of a little bit more careful with it when you put it down so you don't crush anything underneath it. Now, look, I take care of my electronics, but with my 11-inch Pro, I wouldn't think twice about tossing it on the bed or the couch. But with this thing, I feel like I would be throwing my MacBook Pro across the room. Yeah, not gonna happen. And because of that, I find myself not taking this tablet with me as often as I do the 11-inch model. Now, the 11-inch iPad does slide into my bags much easier. It really doesn't take up a ton of room. It's simply much more mobile and much more portable. Essentially, the 12.9-inch iPad is like, it's like having another laptop. And if I'm using something the size of a laptop, well, I'd rather be using my MacBook Pro, not this thing. We have to talk about the iPadOS as well. And as I see it, there really isn't much point of having a powerful tablet like this if it's constrained by such a limited operating system. Now, in addition to not allowing you to really take advantage of all the power that's in this thing, the iPadOS is just, it's not efficient. For example, moving files or renaming files is a pain in the ass. Working with multiple app windows is completely awkward. In reality, the way that you interact with the iPadOS is just plain inefficient. So if you're like me and you want your iPad primarily to use for work, you might be better off getting something like a MacBook Air instead. Now, a few weeks ago, I did a review on the Remarkable 2 tablet, which you can see if you click in the description down below. I'll put a link down there. Now, in that video, I talked about how I've tried over the years to make the iPad a good vessel for taking notes, but honestly, it always falls short. Now, one of the reasons why I didn't like taking handwritten notes on the iPad is because the Apple Pencil, it still feels like a novelty item rather than an actual stylus or a pen or pencil that can be used to do real work. And now look, I've had a lot of iPads over the years, and with every new one that I get, I will break out the Apple Pencil or get the new one, whatever is available, and check out the writing experience, and every single time it has been a disappointment. And really, at the end of the day, when you look at the Remarkable 2, this has, the surface has a little bit more of a friction style, so when you're writing on this, it actually feels like you're writing on a piece of paper, and it has a lot to do with the tip as well. So the combination between the tip and kind of the matte finish that you're writing on, that's how you get, I think that's part of the magic to what they do. With this, if you look at the tip, this is just a hunk of plastic on here, and of course you're writing on glass, so you have no kind of resistance, and so for me it kind of throws off the writing experience a little bit. So if you want your iPad as a writing tablet, well, you may be disappointed with that as well. All right, lastly, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the price. Now, this thing is not cheap. I mean, we know that now. You buy any sort of Apple product, you have Apple tax that's on top of it. This thing was $1,400, and that's $300 more than the 11-inch iPad Pro with the same features. Heck, that's $450 more than the 2020 MacBook Air with the M1 chip. And by the time you add a keyboard to this, which, okay, don't get me wrong, I mean, this thing is actually pretty badass, but it's even more expensive at about $1,900 landed to your home. So at this point, the question is, why not get a MacBook Air instead? Or forgo with the 12.9 and just opt for an 11-inch Pro model and put that extra $300, actually it's more than $300 into the bank and buy a new lens for your camera or buy some other gear that you need. I just don't think the extra expense is really worth it. So like I said earlier, it's not all bad with this thing, so I don't want to paint this as being a worst purchase that I've ever made. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video here, the purpose of this video here is rather than pushing out a, hey, this is a super awesome tablet and this and that, I'd rather at least get you informed of some of the things that were a little bit of concerns. And so again, going back, we've been getting a lot of questions on this. I wanted to address the things that I didn't like first. And again, in a subsequent video, I'm going to take a deeper dive into more of the things that this thing does really well. All right, guys, with our iPad discussion out of the way, let's discuss about our current giveaway. We have 3 great prizes. We have the Holdfast Gear Romographer luxurious camera bag. We have the Pilot Fly Atom Q RX1 Lite, and of course, the $100 Adorama gift card. As always, entering the giveaway is really simple. Step 1, like this video and subscribe to our channel. Step 2, leave a comment below. In fact, the more of our videos that you watch and leave it a comment on, the more chance that you have to win. So get watching some of our other videos and leave some comments. Step 3, register on PhotographyTalk and introduce yourself in the forum. Now, if you registered on the site and introduced yourself during one of the last giveaways, you're still eligible to win. But as I keep saying over and over again, swing on by, say hello. We would love to see you. And friend, that is it. For complete details on the giveaway or how to register on the site or introduce yourself, check out the description below. Good luck. All right, guys, this has been, like all the other videos I say, has been a blast. I really enjoy getting in front of you here. Now, if you found some value in this video, if you were mildly entertained, do me a favor, hit that like button down below. If you're currently not subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? We would love to have you part of this growing community here. So hit that subscribe button, and while you're at it, kick that bell so therefore you're notified each time that we come out with a new video. Friend, I'm going to be getting out of here, so you get out there, stay healthy, and create your best shot.